Good evening or good morning, whenever you're listening to this, and welcome to another edition of That Millwall podcast, the Sunday Night Live. Yesterday, the Lions had a very successful day, not just with our result, but also results elsewhere. However, we interrupt this live broadcast with a special guest. You may have seen on the Twitter that we have a guest appearing on the show today. So without further ado, with an update from Turkey.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Night Live show after Cardiff. This one is, and a great victory. The reason you are seeing me is that I need to disperse a few myths going around. I am in Turkey with the family for 2 weeks relaxation and just basically recharging, really, and it's been absolutely fantastic. The hotel I'm staying at is second to none. It's great. Temperature's been fantastic. Today's been 29. And as anyone who goes to Turkey knows, if you want some fakes, some moody gear, as they say back in South East London, mate, there is lots of it to choose from. Let's put it that way. And all different variations in prices and good quality, allegedly. But still, look, I'm in Turkey, no hair job. No plastic surgery that some of you have said to Stephen that I'm having. Still got the wrinkles, no Botox, and no teeth done. But still, don't worry. Next Friday, I am back and hosting the live show. So, either you're going to look forward to that, or it's going to upset some of you. But I am back and happy to say that I think the guys doing the shows have done a fantastic job, and it's all great. And listen, I'll leave you now with the host, Stephen, who's joined by the Red Bull King, the one and only Jay, and obviously our Northern correspondent, Ben. Even though I'm not there, I don't think Omar's there. So Omar does a show when he wants. Anyway, peace, love, and I will see you all next Friday. Enjoy the show, and make sure subscribe and press that like button. Go on, do it now. Do it.
As you can see, Mickey is well. He's healthy. He's having a great time in Turkey. He hasn't had any plastic surgery or the hair job or anything like that. Just to for the conspiracy theories.
Sorry. He hasn't showed his bottom half.
Listen, I love Mickey. He's a great guy. I'm not going to ask him to prove anything that's below the waist. That's what he does is entirely up to him. But anyway, moving on, as Mickey said, we've got Jay and Ben with us this evening. Guys, Ben, I will start with you. Last week we were at Huddersfield. It was the end of the world. We were getting relegated. We were, it was throwing our toys out the pram a little bit. This week's a little bit different, mate. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Dan and I did the Friday show, and we just said, look, what a difference a game makes. But now it's just what difference a week makes. Didn't see, obviously, the result against Leicester come in. Far more confident with yesterday's game, I think. Not even just after the result against Leicester, but you kind of hoped that Cardiff may have been in holiday mode, nothing to play for. But yeah, what a difference a week makes. And now I'm sure we'll go into it in a lot more detail later. I think barring, I don't say a miracle because stranger things have happened, but barring a monumental slip up from us and a ridiculous comeback from Sheffield Wednesday and Huddersfield, I would say we're safe.
Absolutely. And Jay, we obviously were doing the show. We did the live last week, and it was a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? It was a little bit of a depressing Sunday. You kind of didn't really see this turnaround. We didn't see. We all went into the Leicester game expecting a little bit of a thumping, but Neil Harris certainly knows how to get a response from the players at the Den, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and look, credit where it's due, because it was, like you say, it was all doom and gloom on the Sunday night. After a real bad week in Yorkshire, it wasn't looking very good at all. Teams around us were winning, and we looked like we had major problems. We couldn't score goals, we couldn't keep them out, and we looked all over the place. But Harris demanded a response, and the players give him that. And the fans are fed off that now. And after a great week at home, this morning, set of 2 well-deserved wins as well. We was good for them wins. Things look like, as Ben just said, things look really rosy now. So credit to Harris, credit to the players, some of which that we've, slandered a little bit, the likes of Longman and so on. But no, they've proved us wrong. And we're here to eat crow as much as we are here to discredit us. So, yeah, I'm quite happy to do that this week.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good starting point. Just to last week, Dan had, not last week, in one of the shows during the week, Dan Sexton had a little bit of apology to Ryan Longman. I'm not going to go full apology, but I think certainly last week we probably overreacted a little bit on here. Bit of a head loss. And
I don't want to play any part of that, by the way, because I've always defended Longman and said he gets far too much abuse. So I'm just saying I'm not in that camp, and I've never been. Just caveating that.
Yeah, just throw us under the bus even more, mate. Cheers.
I'm more than happy to do that.
But no, the players, as you said, Jay, the players have been excellent this week. They've been playing for the manager, they've been playing for the supporters, they've been playing for each other. So you can't really ask for too much more. We'll go straight into it. Obviously, one change from the team that played against Leicester, probably enforced with Honeyman being injured. And for me, it was right that SA got the start after his second half performance midweek. However, it was a little bit of a tough stroke, frustrating first half for the young winger attacker, shall we say. Jay, probably didn't really see the best from Remain SA, did we?
No, we didn't. But you've got to be patient with a lad. He's 18 years old. He hasn't played much football, and he come on and changed the game at Leicester. I thought he really did. He stretched them a little bit. I was really impressed with his defensive play. I just thought against Cardiff, where they sort of we was on the front foot a little bit more, I just felt like the game bypassed him a little bit. And Harris made the right call. He took a little knock as well, which is why I thought he originally was taken off at half time. But Harris come out and said it was a tactical switch, and albeit the right one. So I know SA come out on Twitter, on the socials after, and said, look, great win today. So he was obviously happy. And he got 45 minutes under his belt. And Harris is realising that some of these young players, they can offer us something. And SA did that.
Absolutely. And whilst he did struggle, Ben, I know obviously you've obviously watched back from the highlights and maybe not the full game, but he did have a hand in the goal, a cross into the box. Obviously, the assist will go to Ryan Longman because he flicked it onto Cooper, but he was still involved in the goal. That will obviously give him a little bit of confidence that whilst he won't get the assist, it is something for him to build on.
Yeah, I think the goal that probably sums him up and where he's at, right? He's a young lad. If you rewind before the goal, his decision to have a shot on the edge of the box when we've loaded the box and we've only got one player back is actually the wrong one. And that probably, look, he's a young lad. It comes out to him. He should probably just get it back into the box or roll it off to Billy Mitchell. They could nearly break from that. It's actually nearly a 3-on-1. Billy does get back to make it nearly a 3-on-2. Obviously, then it goes back out to him and then he puts a good ball in the box and we obviously score. So that's probably exactly where we're at with SA. You're getting your two sides there of he's affected the game where you want him to up the pitch, but he's made the wrong decision before that, which could lead to the Cardiff breaking, potentially putting us under pressure. So I think, look, yeah, he's a young lad. He's going to make mistakes. The Championship's a hard league. I think we all say it's probably that comment there is horses for courses. It's just picking the right games for him, making sure he's affecting it high up the pitch. We know he's not going to be doing the work that maybe the Watmores are going to be doing. That's why the change comes on. I'll take my headset out in a minute because I thought it might be like that. Look, I think they say that the goal was just perfectly summarised where we're at with him. He made the mistake, but there was a good ball back in the box. And now I'm going to take my headphones out.
Absolutely. Well, it's not the International Space Station. That's what happens when you live in the north of England. The internet up there is a bit ropey. So, and he can't hear me, so it's great. Obviously, I don't want to spend too much time on SA because I thought he was excellent against Leicester. Proved his worth. if you haven't watched Chat with Chaps, Chris, who recorded after the game yesterday, said that he wasn't one that was on the hype train with SA. I must admit, but he didn't have one of his better games yesterday. But his importance to the squad, I think, will show in certain games like the Leicester game, and there will be other opportunities for him. On the game itself, we started quite well. I think we got on the front foot, scored a really good early goal. And it looked like, Ben, I'll come back to you if you're ready to go with your headset, that Michael Obafemi was very, very delighted to score against Cardiff. They were giving him a bit of jip just before, and it soon went a little bit quiet.
Yeah, look, it was a great finish. Just firstly, is that better? Do I sound like I'm in the bath or in a satellite station? Perfect. Yeah, look, it was a great finish. Obviously, it was a bit of a scrappy build-up. It was actually a fairly decent ball from Flemming. I think he was quite clever in what he did. He probably anticipated that Obafemi's going to have that pace on the defender. So I actually think it was quite a clever little ball. I was waiting for some sort of northern comment.
You missed what I said.
It was quite a clever little ball. And then he was quick, strong, athletic, everything that we've missed in a centre-forward. And it's a great finish. It really is. I watched Chaps' post-match back and he said, could the keeper have got there bit in the near post? I think he's hit it so hard and so sweetly. I don't think you can blame the keeper at all. So it's a really good finish. And as you say, I'm sure he was pretty delighted to stick it up Cardiff and score against them. I thought he just watching from the highlights, he looked like he had a really strong game. Again, the effort in the second half. The keeper made a really good save from. So great finish, great goal. Before anyone even mentions it, we've got absolutely no chance of keeping him.
No, that's something we'll come on to a little bit later on in the show. But Jay, I thought after we scored, it kind of felt like we got nervy. We felt a little bit flat and just allowed Cardiff to come back into the game. Really, really poor free kick to give away. I know Sav is in the team to break up play, but I think there was a stat I saw before the game that Cardiff had scored the most goals from set pieces prior to yesterday. So there probably wasn't any real surprise that we gave them a dangerous free kick and they scored from it.
No, that's exactly that. And that just shows a bit of naivety in the camp that, when we do go 1-0 up, we're still not that finished product. We understand that. The nerves are there because, it's a nervous time for us at the moment. We're fighting to stay up and getting the goal as early as we did and being on the front foot as early as we was, I think may have surprised the players as well as it surprised us because it was such a good start. But, the lads did really well because yet again, we was pegged back and we went at it and Harris made some changes at half-time, the different tactical approach, and we went wide and we went fast and we took the game to Cardiff and we was the much better team that second half. The Cardiff didn't really trouble us too much. We limited them in their on the ball play, but our off the ball work is second to none in this division, and it's second to none in this division. And Harris has got us really playing well off the ball. If we could just fine tune the situations when we're on the ball, I think we'll be a much better team. But Obafemi was brilliant. His relationship with Flemming seems to be blossoming. Would have liked to that month or two ago, but no, there isn't really many negatives. I know Ben's got a negative he wants to touch on in a little bit with a player, but no, it's been a really good week and it was a very good performance. And we scored 3 goals. When was the last time we scored 3 goals in a game? Get back at Sheffield Wednesday when Edwards took over. So no, really pleasing all round.
Absolutely. And on the subject, obviously on Cardiff's goal, and I'll come to you, Ben, because I know you something to say on this, and I know I'm going to agree with what you're going to say. This comment from Joseph: Sarkic is not ready as a number 1 goalkeeper. Now, I like Sarkic. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I don't think he's a top championship goalkeeper. However, he should have saved their goal yesterday. I sit right behind the goal, block 10, so overlooking it, and the Cardiff fans didn't even realise it had gone in because they just assumed that it was a delayed reaction for them celebrating because Sarkic kind of pushed it into the side netting. I think there's there could be a decent goalkeeper in there, but he still has a mistake in him. But thankfully, it didn't cost us yesterday, Ben.
Yeah, and I thought that you just summed it up perfectly there, mate. He should have saved it. It's not. Don't want to be negative on the lad because he has got a bit of a beating this year, but there's still question marks out for me. He went through a good patch a few weeks back. He then looked. I'm still not having his distribution at all. I can't. It's just not very good. It's not bad, but it's bad. Yeah, he's got to save it. It's just there's too many. I did think that. I do agree with Dave there. He did misjudge it, but he can't misjudge it. He's a keeper, and it's not. I watched it back a few times, and I thought, were they? Because it was kind of right on the edge of the 6-yard box, right? And when it first came in, it looked like it was a bit further away, and they showed the replay, it looked like it was a bit closer. So I was trying to give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt, but that first line there, as Baz says, is just he makes too many mistakes for me. And whilst you say it didn't cost us yesterday, it did let him get back in the game, and it did make us nervy. You could tell on the highlights that the crowd then went a bit quiet, and it just went a bit edgy in the ground. And I'm just not confident with him. And that's if we're not confident as fans, you can imagine what the back four are like, or the back eight, if I include the midfield, whatever. But yeah, there's just question marks for me there. And again, I don't want to keep comparing him to Gordon Banks, but if you compared him to Johansson from Rotherham, like that, he looks like a man in goal. He looked like a man mountain. I know he had a great game against us. He's probably had some shockers as well. We haven't seen him all year, but I mean, look, if that was the case, I'd be going and get him. Yeah, there's just question marks for me. I'm not confident with Sarkic.
Without jumping the gun, that quoted figure of 750,000 is actually a relegation clause. So if Rotherham are relegated, that's what he's going to go for. Sheffield United was sniffing, Coventry have been sniffing as well. But I agree, the difference between the goalkeepers, as I say, I'm not going to jump too much on Sarkic. I do think he's made some good saves, and I do think that there's room for improvement, though. I think that's probably the best way to kind of summarise him and the kind of season that he's had. The rest of the first half, we were, in my opinion, and I don't know what you guys in the chat think, and Jay, I'll come back to you. I thought we were really poor for about 20 minutes. Nothing happened. We couldn't keep hold of the ball. There's figures Esse gave the ball away a few times. Mitchell, Saville, Flemming. Nothing seemed to really click for us. But right at the end of the half, Captain Fantastic, who I did quote on the just after, I will say, as that would score a goal. Just before we come to the goal, Omar has had a few quid on Jake Cooper over the course of the season, and obviously hasn't won anything off it. It's unconfirmed if he had a few quid on him this week, but I know chaps did. I did as well, so I was delighted with our second goal. But good work from Esse down the right hand side, flick on from Longman, and Coops with a left footed volley. What more can you want?
Guys, really well worked goal. You know, we piled the pressure on, and we come up chance, and it was good from Longman in the centre of the area as well to get that little flick on, and Juicy Jakes at the back post. It's a great finish from Cooper because it comes to him as he's leaning back, as to say, and you know, but it's on his good foot, and he manages to tuck it into the top of the net, and you can see his reaction, how much it meant to him. You know, he's been wanting to get on one for a while now, and it's unusual that it hasn't come from a header. It's come from him planting one into the top of the net with his left peg. But look, he'll take that. We'll take that, and you're right in what you're saying. At that point in the game, there wasn't really much falling for us. You know, we looked like this could spiral a little bit. There was some misplaced passes. There was some attacks from Cardiff, and we looked a little bit edgy. But the goal settled us down. It would have changed Neil's team talk at half time. And he made the right calls with taking Esse off and changed it up. And then from there on out, from the goal, we was the better team for the rest of the game, in my opinion. So, yeah, it was perfectly timed, should we say, because we ain't got a crystal ball. We don't know what would have happened if we went in at 1-1, but glad we didn't.
Absolutely. And on the 3JR MFC, nice to see a little bit more upbeat. It was like a funeral wake last Sunday. Yeah, it was. We
it's because I'm here.
Our heads lost, and yeah, Ben obviously brightens up the show. He's the ray of sunshine. Jamie Redknapp and what was the other, Luis Suarez over there.
I'm definitely going. Thanks, Sam, for sticking up to me there. I'm definitely going with the Jamie Redknapp shout.
Second half, obviously, as you said, SA was taken off for Duncan Watmore. In my opinion, the right sub. Obviously, again, we've seen the second half how it played out, but at half time, it probably was the right thing to do tactically. But I must admit, apart from that effort from distance that Cardiff, when Sarkic got down quite well, I thought, I didn't feel like Cardiff were ever going to score a goal personally, and that doesn't happen very often as a Millwall fan. You're always on the edge of your seat, thinking we're going to sit deep, and I've seen a few comments in the chat about whether or not Harris long term next season. We will come on to that at the end of the show. However, if we had Gary Rowett in charge yesterday at 2-1, we would have sat back and we would have allowed Cardiff to have the ball. That was his mantra. That was his style of football. That's what we were going to do. Ben, I'll come to you. Whilst, again, we'll save the topic of Harris's future, it was nice to see, again, and I watched the highlights back in the second half. At 2-1, it's usually the other team having chances. But this time, it was Obafemi having a chance, Flemming having a chance. I think Ben looks like Jason Manford.
This is spiraling into a lookalike show for Ben now. It was me and Stephen the other week. Now, you chat are ruthless, I'm telling you. It only takes one little thing. And you lot are on it.
I will repeat for Ben. It was nice, wasn't it, Ben, that the highlights were us having chances and not the opposition like what we've seen before?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, just from the highlights you watch, you can always tell because how many shots I think they only had two on the highlights, and one was the goal. Oh dear, killing me. I was reading what's coming through now. I'm not going to lie. Completely look like
it's like Mario's mate.
Oh God. Jesus, completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, it was nice, mate, to be on the front foot and us be creating most of the chances. As I say, there's got to be. I'll take that one as well, Michael Arteta. Yeah, I'll take that.
That's an outstanding shout. That's a great shout.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'm just reading the comments now. Stop putting them up.
For the benefit of people listening on a podcast, the Lion Blue. Don't worry, Ben. Uncle Fester's getting it on Friday. For those of you that you may have missed the start of the show, or you're not watching it live, or you're not watching it on YouTube, Mickey is back on Friday. He will be in the hot seat, and well, shall we say he's going to be causing havoc? But yeah, he will be back very, very shortly. And Ben, all of yours are actually quite nice lookalikes. Me and Jay got absolutely ruined when this.
Look at this one.
James Corden, Will from the Inbetweeners, and Jason Manford. I feel there's some editing coming. There's some editing coming on this. At some point.
Mate, it's nice to be on the front foot. In answer to your question, we got there in the end.
Excellent. Right, Jay.
Yes.
Duncan Watmore. Why in God's earth did that man take his shirt off and run around the den with the palest body? And I don't tan at all. I mean, that would be basically what I would look like, minus the ginger hair. But that was I love the goal. It settled the nerves, but Christ, what was he doing? What was he doing? I
don't know. He would make an albino look bronzed, wouldn't he? Let's be honest. Like, he's the palest man I've ever seen. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's out next week through severe sunburn. But look, you could just see like it was a pivotal point in the game. Do you know what I mean? We felt like we did need another. I thought we was in control, but when we got it, you could just see the elation on his face. I actually think he's played pretty well in recent games under us. You know, he's got a couple of goals in a couple of weeks as well. And yeah, look, he's elated. I'm happy for him to celebrate like that. You know, I don't mind it because look, we've won the game and the players are happy and there's a good atmosphere. He created a good atmosphere, but I don't want to see that again. But yeah, if it means we're winning games, then yeah, I'm happy. But no, pleased for him because he works hard, Duncan Watmore. It doesn't always pay off because he is a bit of a one-trick pony. But it was a good sub, and it showed the intent from Harris that he wants to drive at Cardiff, wants to get after him, and it paid off. So yeah, very happy. Yeah, transparent. Yeah, he was.
Just a question on Watmore, Stephen. Is he under contract next year, or is he out of contract?
I think he is.
I think he is. I think he signed. It was a 2.5 year deal because he come in January, didn't he?
Yeah.
So that would take him to.
To January, I think he's got till.
No, I think they extended it so he's at the end of next season. So he got the half from January to the end of last season, and then 2 full seasons with us.
Yeah, we're definitely not in danger of losing him in the summer.
Absolutely. We will come on to Sunderland, Joseph. I will star that, and we'll come back to it. With the result yesterday, I think Harris, the fans, all of us lot in the chat, we've said it so many times that the important thing for us is to just take care of your own results. If you go and win your own game, it don't matter what anyone else does, because they can't catch you because we've already got the lead. However, whilst leaving the ground, a 100th minute penalty at Bristol City against Huddersfield, which, if you haven't seen it, questionable. Female ref. I'm not going to get into that, but she's been absolutely hammered on social media this afternoon.
Not surprised.
Just was the cherry on top of the cake, really, wasn't it? To see Huddersfield go from having another 3 points to a draw. I think, if I'm right, we were the only side that played yesterday at the 3 o'clock. Obviously, I know Blackburn won earlier on, that played at 3 o'clock, that won at the bottom of the league. So it was a perfect day all round for us, really.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think now that you look at it, what will be 6 points clear, so they need to get 7 from 3 games. You look at Sheffield Wednesday's fixtures, they've got Blackburn away, West Brom at home, Sunderland away. That's tough. I can't see them getting 7 points from that. Huddersfield, Swansea at home, Birmingham at home, Ipswich away. Again, I can't see them getting 7 points from that. So, yeah, we've been lucky that we still had it in our hands, but there was very much a case of, I felt if we won Saturday, it didn't matter what everyone else did, because it's just another game chalked off, and say now they need 7 points. I know they've dropped points to make it 7, but yeah, it just felt like if we won yesterday, we would have been safe. And I still think that. I think a point will do it. We'll just that'll be us 100%. I think we're 95% the way there. I think a point now will do it, personally.
Absolutely. On that point there, John, another good crowd, biggest average crowd since 1952. I must admit, and my dad, who I know is listening to this, he always looks up the attendances and tries to work out the averages and stuff like that. It's just something he's always done. And I'm very, very surprised at that fact, because we've been so poor this year at home, but the fans have still come. They've still supported the team. They've still been trying to get behind them. Obviously, under Harris, things have significantly improved, which again, we will come on to. But the fans have stuck with them this year, and it has been quite surprising. I know there was a couple of games where, Sheffield Wednesday, it was a bit toxic, and Ipswich as well. But all in all, the fans are sticking with them. And I think whilst, in fact, we'll do this now. We'll move on to Neil Harris. Harris's conference after the game, Jay, I don't know if you've heard it, but a quote that stuck with me was that if he goes to the shop by the training ground, if he's entering the ground, if he's walking in town, wherever he goes, he gets told that the players can't play at the Den and they haven't got the bottle. I think whatever anyone thinks about Neil Harris, this is Neil Harris's Den, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, 100%. I'll put it out on socials this morning that, look, under Gary Rowett and Joe Edwards this season, we'd won 4 games at home total. Harris is coming and he hasn't lost a game at home. Harris has set records at home when he was last in charge. We went 17 games unbeaten. I think we went 12 games without conceding at home as well. Neil Harris and the Den is a special relationship, and it brings the fans in because Neil Harris knows what the fans want. He knows how to get the best out of the fans, and he creates this mixture in this cauldron that is the Den that seems to breed results, and it's and it's and it works. It really does, because you see him on the sideline. He's leading from the front, and when you see that the fans they G up, they get involved, and we're a good crowd when the Den's rocking. There's no place like it, and Harris harnesses that. And it's it's been pleasing. But yeah, if there's one thing for sure, his football might not be pretty and it might not wow you, but there's one thing for certain, is that Neil Harris won't lose games or many games at the Den. Manscaped.
So again, Jay is obviously sponsored by Manscaped. To my knowledge, none of the individual panelists have a sponsor. If anyone would like to sponsor us, please get in contact. Manscaped, other providers are available, of course. But no, obviously on the point, on Jay's point there, Ben, Harris will always divide opinion. I think he's divided opinion with our group of all us lot in the chat, and you know, we had a conversation literally about 2 hours ago about next season and what's going to go on. That is, sorry, Ben looks like Obafemi. That is, just stop, please, just stop. There's 288 of you watching at the moment. If you think that Ben looks like Michael Obafemi, hit like. If you don't think Michael Obafemi looks like Michael Obafemi, hit like as well. Add a comment. But anyway, back to Neil Harris. He will always divide opinion, and I think over this course of the summer, it's going to be a real talking point, especially when transfers are announced. If we could just appoint him for home games only and find someone that could set us up away from home, I think that would be absolutely perfect. But Ben, I'm going to throw you right under the bus now. Guys in the comments, answer this question as well. Jay, if you can, after August the 4th or 5th or whatever it is, would you like to see Neil Harris in the dugout as Millwall manager?
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, I think, look, I think he deserves it. I think he was given an 18-month deal for a reason. Stop putting the comments up whilst I'm talking because I'm going to lose track and just keep looking. Yeah, look, he deserves a chance. I do think this is the strongest squad that he would have managed. I know we're going to lose a lot in the summer. I think the summer recruitment, I know we keep going on about it and we know we're going to keep doing shows on it, is the most important summer we're going to have probably, I'm not saying our history because I can't remember, obviously a long time ago, but it's so important, I feel like, because there's going to be such a high turnover in players, not only loan players going back, we've got players out of contract. So yeah, would I like to see him in charge? Yes, I would. I think he deserves it. Do I think he's the long-term answer? I'm still not sure on that.
No, and Jay, same question to you. 5th or 4th of August, whenever the season, I don't know when the season's going to start. Would you like to see Neil Harris in charge? Now, before we come to that, we are assuming that we will get over the line. Obviously, nothing's been settled yet, but if we are a championship club, would you like to see Neil Harris in the dugout, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he's earned it at the end of the day. You know, he said when he first come over, he wouldn't come for a 3-month contract. He has to protect his future a little bit, which we understand. They gave him 18 months, and he's fully earned the next year in the dugout without a shadow of a doubt. Now, whether he wants to or whether he'll get paid out is a different thing. He might want to go and hang his managerial career at Millwall up on a high, having kept us up, and therefore install his status as immortal at the Den if he hasn't already. But yeah, look, we don't really know the full extent of Harris's management. He's changed a lot. He's been away for years, managed different clubs, and he's come in a very limited time in a different situation where he's had to just get results. Now, we might see a different expansive type of Neil Harris with, you know, we don't really know the type of manager he's turned into. So look, he deserves it regardless of people's faults. As alluding to what Ben said, I totally agree. Look, is he the long term? I don't think so. Based on obviously what we already know, I'd like to think he's changed enough where it could be a conversation. But yeah, if Neil Harris is not in the dugout next year, it for me will only be from his own doing that he decided to hang up, because I think that the club, they're not going to fire Neil Harris and they're not going to send him walking, are they? Let's be honest. If he keeps us up, which it sounds like he has, yeah, he deserves a statue outside of the ground, let alone a seat in the dugout. So yeah.
Absolutely. There's a few comments that have come through about, yes, a lot of people are talking about Harris. I am going to skip through. Jay, if you don't mind, just go through a couple of them, like what I've missed, just so we can get them on the screen. But I'm just going to put this one up from Larry. He has an 18-month contract. This question is irrelevant. That may well be the case, and we may be putting two together and getting 47. So you could be absolutely spot on there. My only concern is that if the club, for me, if the club put in the hour of need call, which they obviously did, Harris was brought in to save us. Would Harris want to put this legacy, as Jay alluded to, would he want to put it on the line and go down the same route as what happened before? In my opinion, I think he may deserve a chance at being the manager. Again, I may know. I've said this on loads of shows. I love Neil Harris. He's a hero, and if he keeps us up this season, then again, immortalised forever if he already wasn't. But you also have to try and put it into place. Would he want to perhaps put that legacy on the line? Last time he took over, we were at the bottom of the league under Holloway. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep us up. Wasn't his fault. This time he's come in and he has now likely kept us up. So it is a different scenario. But I agree. He has an 18-month contract. He may well be here and we may well be talking rubbish and none of this matters. But I do think the story isn't just finished yet. Ben, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I was just going to just jump in and just to add, whatever happens, I think it's just clear now that he needs to be a part of the club in some way, shape or form. Whether he wants to do that, I don't know. He might want to go back in to management if after the 18 months with us or shorter that he goes and then goes on elsewhere. I say whether he wants to, I don't know. But I think it's just evident now he needs to be in the club in some sort of supporting way. So any manager that comes in knows what it means to be Millwall manager and understands us as a fans, imprints the Millwall way, if you want, on whoever comes in the club. Players, managers, obviously he's done it on both sides. So I think he needs to be in the club in some way, shape or form. As I say, whether he would like to do that, I've got no idea. Whether we even have the capacity or what role that would be in, with Aldo being director of fucking football operations, whatever he's called. But yeah, I would just, whenever that time does come and he does move on again, I would just like to see him in the club. I would like to see him stay or be involved in some way.
Can I just back off of that? Because that's really interesting what Ben just said there about installing what Harris does. Like, how long, there was a comment there, how long can we rely on Harris having to come back and do this? And I think what Ben said is absolutely spot on. Like, we need to progress Harris to have him around the club full time, where people can come into the club and he can install it, like Ben just said, from the get-go, because we seem to keep going back to the Millwall way, or we've lost our way and we need to get it back. Having him there in a director of football role, for instance, would do that. And there would be a form of accountability. There would be a clear direction under Harris's leadership from upstairs. So yeah, that's a really interesting point from Ben, and I totally agree that his next step, once he leaves this post, he should not come back as manager again. You can't keep going down the same road. While it's worked out twice for us, we need to start drifting ourselves away from this Millwall way that we may or may not like. We need to try and improve. We have ultimate goals to move up leagues. We can't stay where we are forever. But yeah, Harris in some way or form needs to be involved in the club from a board standpoint, or at least involved in the daily running of the club for a lower level management sort of thing. But yeah, I totally agree. That's a good point.
Look, I think we are gonna move on. I'm going to talk about a couple of the individual player performances. But just finally on the Harris thing, there's loads of comments on this, guys. We're obviously going through them all. We're reading them all. There's a lot of good opinions. There's a lot of good things and it's a conversation that may be had over the summer. I think a transfer window is certainly something that we need to see. Some kind of plan as to what Harris's future, what his vision looks like for next season. That might shape us a little bit more in the sense of the direction that we're going in. But as I say, from purely from a footballing point of view, this season under Joe Edwards, I'm under no illusion. I don't think anyone can argue this. We were going to be relegated. That was just where the club was heading. Neil Harris has come in. That Southampton result was a bonus. Let's not kid ourselves. It really was. But outside of that, the points he's amassed, albeit the fixtures, he might have done it in different games. He's done a terrific job. And if he does start the season in charge, he deserves a little bit of a crack at it, just to see, what we can do moving forward.
I think Chris made a comment. I was going to say, to end that, I think Chris made a comment. I think it's almost inevitable that he starts the season with us. Whether he finishes whether he finishes the season with us, get my words out, is probably up for debate. Just because we know what it's like. We've had 2 bad results and everyone was getting on his back after those 2 results, right? So you imagine if it's a prolonged period of time next year, it might turn again. But yeah, I think he deserves the opportunity to start next year with us. I'm worried about the summer. I know we keep saying it. I am worried about the summer.
Yeah, and again, that's something I think over the course of the summer, guys, we will do our best, obviously, to bring you some content. Without football to talk about, it's really difficult to have these kind of conversations. However, we're expecting a busy summer transfer window. We'll be expecting a lot of news and bits and pieces to come up. So we'll obviously be going through that as and when it happens and stuff like that. We're not going to get too bogged down with like transfers today or other stuff that we just don't know. We still don't know what league we're going to be in, so it's really difficult to have that conversation. Just before I do move on, Millwall Holdings, RIP, Dave Memmott, absolutely. The club, in my opinion, made a bit of a shambles with the clap minute silence. It started as a minute silence, then it went to a clap. They didn't put something on the screen. It's on Tuesday. This was on Tuesday night for those that weren't there. It wasn't yesterday. It just wasn't right. They got it completely wrong. There was no communication. But obviously, RIP, Dave Memmott, obviously, a member of the Millwall family that we've sadly lost, and thoughts with his family and friends at this time, and teammates, former teammates. Bringing it back to the game yesterday, I'm gonna please one of my panelists with what I'm about to say, and I will go to him first, and that is Jay. Billy Mitchell. Me and you have very conflicting opinions on Mr. Mitchell, which is what football is about. It's about opinions, and that's what makes podcasts and things like this great. Yesterday, I thought he was our man of the match. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in the middle. His job was excellent all afternoon. I'm not saying that I'm not going to sort of turn around and go, he's the finished article, so I don't think he is. And I think there's a lot more to come from him. However, if you get that level of performance out of Billy Mitchell, there is a player in there at this level, but we have to see it more often.
Oh, 100%. And I'd argue that he's been one of the better players since Harry's come back. I thought he was fantastic Tuesday night. I thought he was absolutely flawless against Leicester. And again, the weekend, he was brilliant. Again, he clears up. He stretches the play now. He's started to move the play forward. He gets the ball. He wants to drive forward now, and which has been a big criticism in his game in times past. But he's overshadowing Saville a little bit now. He seems to be controlling that midfield, while Saville takes a bit of a deeper step back and analyses it better with his brain. Billy Mitchell's the legs, and he seems to be doing all the dirty work now, as what Saville did before. But he's Billy's been absolutely brilliant, and there is a lot more to come from him. He's still in his early 20s. He's still a very young player. There is still a player that could be coached there, but he's got ability. He's got a fantastic engine, and he's proving to everybody that it is the right decision, because if you're coming in for Casper Denore, you better perform, because not only is it your shirt on the line, it's Neil Harris's as well, because that's a massive call for Neil Harris. That was a huge call when he come in. To drop Casper for Billy Mitchell was huge, and he's just proven that decision to be right every single week at the moment, and long may it continue, because he's given us food for thought for the upcoming season. Because if he was brilliant under Joe Edwards in that stretch in December, he played all them games in December that we won due to injuries. And then he went back out the side and we started to lose games again. So he's been an easy scapegoat for managers. He's been an easy scapegoat for fans. But one of the first names on the team sheet after sort of Lenny and one or two others, he's not far behind. I've been really, really, really pleased with Billy, as I am a big fan. So, yes, it's nice to have someone that I think's a good player play really, really well.
Absolutely. And Ben, I'm going to put this comment on. I'm going to come to you. There's method in my madness. Dave Clark, mediocre player has been exposed against better opposition. I'm assuming, Dave, that you are talking about Billy Mitchell. Now, Ben, last week at Huddersfield, if I'd have said to you that I was going to be praising Billy Mitchell this week, you'd have thought that I was absolutely off my head, because he was absolutely woeful at Huddersfield. He was. And the running the ball off the pitch, I cannot get that image out of my head. It's baffling that happened. But I think, and there's another comment as well that I will again come to you with it on it, Ben. He's been great. Doesn't need to coaching to do the attacking part though. Do you think that if George Saville stays, and again on this comment, if we have Mitchell and Saville in the midfield next season, we will struggle. If Saville stays, but he's not first choice, and we can find someone else to play in that position, does Billy Mitchell have a long-term future in the centre of midfield in the Championship for us?
100%. I'm such a Billy fan, you know that. I love him. I think he gets a really hard time. I have been a long time believer that I know we've got probably quite a few players at ice, but if he played in a better side, I think you'd see a better player. He's a really tidy footballer. Yeah, he's got to improve at the numbers side of it, but is that his game? I'd argue it's not. I think he will just become the natural progression when Sav. I do agree with Bazley's comments a second ago. I don't think next year we can have Sav and Billy to go for a sustained period of time. It's been great now with Harris coming back in and the last 13 games, because it's one big push. I don't think there's enough. I think we need someone else in there next year with a bit more creativity. But I think Billy will become the natural progression to Saville's role. That's what I think, and I hope. But yeah, I would like to see someone in there that's a bit more creative next to him. And there's question marks for me if that's even Casper now. I'm not sure he's that player. So yeah, I think for me, Billy will start next year, certainly with Harris being here. I'm surprised he didn't get as much game time with Joe, to be honest. I thought he'd be his sort of player, just a tidy sort of keep the ball, tick it over sort of type player that Joe would have wanted in his side. Yeah, but I agree with Baz. I don't know if we can have Sav and Billy in there next year.
No, I agree. And on that subject, I'm going to move on to another player. And I hadn't actually, before we come on, we spoke about a couple of players that we were going to talk about, but I didn't mention this one. But it's just come to me. And guys in the chat, this is something I'd really want to get your feedback on and get involved with this as well. Zian Flemming. Now, got an assist yesterday. I thought he was okay. I think he tried. The effort and commitment was there. Obviously, he's expected to score goals and get assists. So if he doesn't, I know he got an assist, but if he doesn't score, then people are kind of like, oh, what's he doing? I don't think Zian Flemming will be a Millwall player for much longer. I think we're only going to see him. I don't think we'll see him much after this season. I think he'll go. I think they will learn from their mistakes of the past of not cashing in on him last summer. Also, previous mistakes with the likes of Jed Wallace, Steve Morris and Tim Cahill, the sorts that we haven't got decent fees for. So I don't think we're going to see too much of him. However, in that scenario, do you think that the likes of Casper De Norre, Romain Esse, George Honeyman might be able to flourish in a central attacking position? So if we were to lose Flemming, it won't necessarily be the end of the world. Am I looking at it? I know the stats will say that he scored 22 goals in 2 seasons for us. He's our leading goal scorer this year. So stats will say that we might struggle without him. But are we starting to see perhaps that there may be life after Zian Flemming?
Yeah,
which one of you?
I think so. And there's an article out. I don't know if you guys in the chat have seen it, where he's kind of acknowledged that himself. You know, he wants to play at the highest level. Why wouldn't he? He's a quality player. We haven't seen the heights that he hit last year, but he's been asked to do a lot of different things this year. I still think he's played well in spells. He still leads the team in assists and goals and work rate and things like that. So, you know, he's still a key player for us. We probably, in hindsight, should have probably got rid of him when we had the chance and reinvested and bought someone like Creswell in, we could have gone and got a Lewis Travis from Blackburn, who he's ever linked with, and reinforced our depth and got some added quality. But yeah, I don't think Flemming will be here next year. I'd like to see SA fill that role in the 10. I think he's a 10. I don't think he's a wide man. I think he's got too much ability where he sees the game better than everyone else. I think he's got such raw talent that in the 10 he'll get a lot more goals, because I don't think he's got the physicality or the raw pace to play out wide in a 4-2-3-1. So I'd like to see him in a 10, maybe with Honeyman behind. That's a lot of flair, a lot of quality, a lot of tactical awareness. But look, if you can get 6 to 8 million for Zian Flemming and reinvest that and get a Charlie Cresswell, get an out-and-out right-sided winger or a target man up front, I think you have to do it, for the future of the club, because we don't recoup from player sales. We haven't recouped any money this season. I think the only club in the Championship to not receive any money from player sales. And we don't have a succession plan at the moment behind the players that we're going to lose on loan and the ones that are out of contract. So we need to find a way to reinvest somewhere, because we're not going to have the finances. And Zian Flemming's going to be the prized asset that we could use to do that. So I think from our standpoint, to summarise it, yes, I think we need to. I think Zian Flemming probably wants to as well, based on his recent comments in that article I just mentioned.
And I mean, there's a lot of to and fro in there, Ben. Lots of people are saying he'll be missed, you'll be surprised, sack him off. That dividing here. The same question to you, and again on this one from Dan. What are we realistically going to get from Zian in the summer, in all of our opinions? Firstly, Ben, what are your thoughts on the initial? Are we potentially in a place where we could replace Zian Flemming perhaps with someone in the squad, and would he be a big miss?
Can we replace him with someone in the squads? I don't know from a numbers perspective that we have that quality in there. I'm going to disagree with Jay slightly with SA. I'm very much with Chaps on SA. I struggle with him a little bit, and we all know the ability's there, the potential's there, but I just don't know if he's ready. That's just my opinion. I know you can say that he's a young lad, he needs games. I get that, but I struggle with him a little bit. Honeyman, I would like to see in the 10. I was quite vocal with him being back in the middle, but again, look, there might be a case of, if the natural, just going back to the Billy Mitchell and Saville piece, maybe he goes into that position, because he did really well in there, and I really liked him in that position when we had obviously the injury problems under Joe when he was in the middle. I thought he was superb with Honeyman being in there. Can we replace Flemming? Look, of course we can. Every player is replaceable. My concern now is just what sort of fee we're going to get, and then moving on to Dan's question that come in, what do we think we're going to get? Because his last year with his contract, there was rumours that we've got an extension clause in there. Again, we're not sure if it's player or club. I would imagine it would be a club extension rather than a player one. There's rumours that that's in there. We're not going to be getting anywhere near the figures that were bandied about when Burnley were coming. I would be even surprised if it was near the 5 million mark. That's just my opinion, just because he's got 1 year left on his deal. If that level of figure did come in, I would take it, and you'd have to try and find someone else, obviously, to replace him. So, not answer your question. Do I think we've got the ability in the squad? Not sure. Will he be missed? Absolutely. He's a very, very good player. And I don't even think from his numbers output, you can see his level of professionalism, I think, in the squad. And he's actually been one of the players that's kind of surprised me in a way, that how he's reacted to the relegation battle. He could have been a player that could have just gone, nah, not interested. But he seems to be all bought into it. And he's very demanding of the players on the pitch. You see that, he's vocal. So I think we'd miss him from that aspect as well.
It's really interesting because, again, this is what makes our podcast, any football podcast, interesting, because there's so many varied opinions on players, on tactics, on managers, and going through. We
wouldn't be here if there wasn't. It'd be pointless.
Exactly, and all the comments coming through on Flemming, you've got people saying swap him for Obafemi, people saying keep him, people saying sell him, get as much as you can.
Just to touch on that, then, Stephen, that's a very good question. If that was available, I think it might be unanimous, probably here and in the chat. If that was an option, would we go for it? And I'll just start. I would 100%, if that was an option and Burnley wanted to do that, I would be up for that, because I think we're far more likely to find someone in a 10 or a creative midfielder role than we are a number 9 with Obafemi's qualities. So I'm going to say yes.
I like the idea of it because I do like Obafemi.
It's never happening. It's never happening.
For me, if we're going to recoup that, I'd rather recruit actual finances for Flemming, because I feel like we're short quite all over. And with Bradshaw likely returning, and Nisbet, I think we're going to have too much of the same with Obafemi. I think I'd like to offload one of them to bring Obafemi in. But I'd like to get another centre half in, get another midfielder in. And I don't think we're going to have the finances without a Flemming sale to do that. But if we could recruit everywhere else and everything's dandy, and they just went, here you go, Zian for Obafemi, and we've got all our holes filled 100%. I think we'd be mad not to. I think Obafemi's a Millwall type player. Yeah, I really do think he's that. I think he's physical, strong, and he looks like he wants to be here, and he looks aggressive, and he looks like a pain in the arse. He looks like if he played for another team, you'd fucking hate him. One of them type players, and I really like that about him, and he's getting better the fitter he gets. So yeah, I would love to have him back at the club, but we need finances.
I must admit, I'm actually more with Ben. The comment that Ben made was actually, I thought of it before you asked the question and you said it. We must be telepathic. It's easier to find a number 10 than it is to find a number 9. And at this level, even at the top level, you look at some of the top clubs all desperately, like for example, Chelsea desperately need a striker. They've got all wingers and attacking midfielders coming out, left, right and centre on 8-year deals, but haven't got a striker to put the ball in the back of the net. So it does filter down the footballing chain. So yeah, I would be inclined to. There's some comments that have come up throughout while you guys were talking about Obafemi's wages. Again, we all know that's a stumbling block, but it's a hypothetical. If we could, I would probably swap Zian Flemming for
very, very hypothetical. If you
Michael.
Put in the actual details, wages, all that sort of thing, that we know it's probably going to absolutely never happen in a million years.
The thing is, with Burnley coming down as well, they may want to keep Obafemi. He's still their asset, and he's still clearly a very good striker at this level. He will take him. If he played a full season, he was fully fit, he'd score goals without a shadow of a doubt. Burnley have got a quality squad.
He played a big part in Burnley going up as well, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
games for him in the Championship. So
yeah,
I'd be surprised if he doesn't play any sort of part. Yeah. Or they even want to get rid of him. I'd be surprised.
Yeah, we'd be better off if they stayed up to get hold of Obafemi. To be honest, coming down and maybe even Flemming would look at someone like a Leeds or a Southampton if they went up. I think you'd suit that sort of team. But yeah, it's all hypotheticals. I know we're not mathematically safe, but I think we can safely start talking about Championship level players, to be honest.
Absolutely. And for the benefit of the guys listening on a podcast, it's usually about this time that we split it and put the show into 2. So stick around with us and we'll be back with some more Millwall content for you very, very shortly. Moving on to another lone player that I wanted to have a quick discussion about with you guys, and again, everyone in the chat, is Japhet Tanganga. Now, much like Obafemi, I think the club took a massive risk on 2 players that were unfit, but they probably knew were very good players at this level, and thought if we can get them at any kind of 100%, 95% match fitness or whatever, that they would improve this team massively. That's kind of what I think was the strategy there. We've spoke about Obafemi and his qualities and hypothetical. For me, I'm going to raise the stakes a little bit more. If the option was to sign Michael Obafemi or Japhet Tanganga, for me, I would be signing Tanganga all day long. I think he's absolutely first class. I think he is a Rolls Royce of a defender in this division. He'd walk into, I think it was on Chat with Chaps, he'd walk into any team in this league's defence, in my opinion, even the ones at the top. I mean, Faze for Leicester is absolutely woeful. Tanganga would walk into his place, in my opinion. Yesterday, possibly got out-jumped for the goal, but, no one's perfect. Outside of that, He was absolutely superb. Again, I will ask the question, and I think I know what's coming to this. Ben, you first. Do we have any chance of signing Japhet Tanganga in the summer?
I think we've got more chance than Obafemi. I will be honest there. I still think it's a slim chance, but I think we've got more chance of signing him just purely because of, again, because of his contract situation. Spurs were willing to let him go. I think we've got more chance of getting Tanganga. I don't think we will. I think now, unfortunately, we probably put him in a shop window. I could see him going to a Leeds, Southampton, Ipswich, whoever gets promoted. And to be honest, I could see him playing in the bottom half of the Premier League. Honestly, I really could. He is that good. So yeah, I think it's a slim chance. I think we've got more chance of signing him than Obafemi, but I don't think we will.
And Jay, obviously, you know, we speak a lot about Joe Edwards and Aldo and the recruitment, and rightly so. By the way, I'm not giving them a free pass on this because we know that there's problems there. However, the risk to go in for Tanganga and Obafemi, who weren't match fit, who had potential to be good players at this level, I think it's abundantly clear that a fit Tanganga and Obafemi as well makes this Millwall team 10 times better than if it was, sorry, Ben, Tom Bradshaw and Wes Harding in those positions.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I mean, I don't even think that's a question. This should be an open and shut case. I do agree with Ben as well. Like, I do think that there is a chance that we could sign Tanganga. You'd have to ask the question. I think the wages would be a massive stumbling block. He's on 25 grand a week. Signed a new deal not too long ago. I believe that the club he was on loan for before he came to us have an option as well. I believe that's the case. And as Ben said, I
think that was in his loan agreement, Jay. So I think that got cancelled.
Unless that got cancelled, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it got cancelled with his loan.
So that aside, look, he's put himself in the shop window, you know, and as Ben said, there's some clubs that are going up or potentially might miss out on coming down from the Premier League, lower end Premier League clubs that would jump at the chance to sign someone like Tanganga because he is, as you said, a Rolls Royce in this division. He's a fantastic defender. He's calm and he's got a great future. I don't think we will sign him, but I do think the option's there. Is he more of an option than Obafemi? I'm not so sure. I would actually tip Obafemi being more likely. But look, if you could get Tanganga and Obafemi, or even just one of them, that'd be a fantastic signing. That really, really would. Don't forget, we've got Alex Mitchell to come back. You could pair him with Tanganga. That'd be amazing. But look, yeah, I'd love him back. Any Millwall fan would love him back. And yeah, I just think that it might be a little bit above us for Tanganga.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's a comment here from Connor. Tanganga won't get anywhere near too good for this level of football, but Obafemi, we have a chance. I think it's a risk and reward type situation. The injuries, the fact that they were injured probably meant that they come to us. We were happy to take the risk, whereas other clubs were not. They're now fitter. It really, I guess it really depends. Are they happy? Would that come into it? Would they want to come back to the club? Those kind of things come into it as well. But again, it's all speculation. It's just topics of conversations. I mean, me personally at the game yesterday, watching Tanganga, watching Obafemi, you kind of think to yourself, these are the types of players that Millwall need to find to have us consistently improving at this level. I'm not saying that you're going to, it's going to work every single time, but you can see the step up in quality and that's where we have to be heading as a club. Again, in the summer, we'll do more on the shows. We'll do more on transfers and things, but it's abundantly clear to me that that they do have an opportunity to bring in better players. There is that opportunity to do it. It's just, do you get gazumped, as someone said, on a transfer fee? The other lone player, again, Alex has put on the screen, the comment on the screen there, any chance of Brooke Norton-Cuffy coming back next season? Jay, I'll come to you first. For me, before Christmas, Brooke Norton-Cuffy was in the running with Ryan Leonard for player of the season. In my opinion, I thought he was superb. was putting in excellent performances. His injury probably come at the worst time. It really derailed his season, and then the change of manager and Harris's style, and it all changed. I would like to see us try and sign someone like Brooke Norton-Cuffy. However, I don't think he's someone that wants to be a bit part player. I think he wants to be a starter. And under Neil Harris, I don't think that's ever going to be the case.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought when he come on, though, against Cardiff, I thought he was brilliant. And I thought he really added a different dimension. He likes to attack teams. And I just don't think, as you just said, he's a Harris-type player. I really don't. And that will be unfortunate because out of most of the loan signings, I would say him and Longman are probably the two most likely you'd probably be able to sign. And you probably wouldn't have to break the bank to get them because, let's face it, Brooks not going back to Arsenal and doing anything there. The best option we'd have is to give him a call and take him back on loan. I'd have him back all day long. I think he's worked really hard and he's a good player. But again, like you just said, he doesn't fit into what Harris wants to do. So, and this is where it's going to get interesting because you could make the case that Ryan Longman's going to probably be the first agent that Harris gets on the phone to because he's clearly very fond of Ryan Longman, and Longman is clearly very fond of Neil Harris. He's starting to play some good football. Would we have been happy with that a month ago? Absolutely not. But could you see it now with the depth issues that we have and possibly the finances issues that we may have, and Hull have spent a lot of money and it could be surplus there? I think you'd be quite easily swayed towards bringing Ryan Longman back. I think they're the type of players that we will get. I don't think we'll bring Tangangrin or Brook for that matter. But yeah, it's a shame that he won't be a Harris type player, Brook, because there's a manager out there that will get a real solid player out of him because he's so versatile. Right wing, left wing, right back, jumped in at left back. So there's some real added quality there and versatility, and he's only a kid. So, yeah, I'd love to go after him, though. Definitely would, but Harris won't do it.
And Ben, I'll say it. Life peaked when Brooke Norton-Cuffy nutmegged the Sheffield Wednesday fullback and put that ball in the back of the net to make it at 4-0 at Sheffield Wednesday. I never forget looking to my left and your big booming smile as that ball hit the back of the net, which was unreal away day. As I say, I think Brooke Norton-Cuffy is an excellent player, and I think he's going to have a decent future in maybe at this level, maybe in the Premier League. Further down the line, I think there's still a development to go. Would he be someone that you would like the club to bring back, if possible, on a permanent deal?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it on the live with Dan on Friday. Yeah, definitely, because if you look at the bigger picture, kind of take Neil Harris out of it. If you look at him as an asset for the club, we don't have too many of those. We've spoken about that a few times. Jay touched on it earlier. We're all for recouping fees. If we look at the assets in the club at the minute, we don't have too many with a huge amount of sell-on potential. He would be one. He's a young player from the Arsenal Academy, still young, as I said, English. So you're going to look to, if he has a good couple of seasons, you might get a decent amount of money for him. And look, he has got quality. I disagree with you slightly there. I don't think he's ever going to be in the Premier League. I don't think he's that good. I think he's got a lot to improve on his end product. That being said, yesterday it was a great ball in the box for Watmore, and he did really well to nick it off the fullback. But yeah, look, yeah, he would definitely be someone I would look to try and get in. Again, if the fee was right, I would. Again, I think Jay's 100% spot on. I just don't think he's ever going to knock Ryan Leonard out of right back, is he? Whilst we've got Neil Harris here, unfortunately. I would like to see him, though. He could be someone I would like to see further up the pitch. He would be, if we're going to play sort of with the two wingers next year, then he would be someone I'd definitely play high up the pitch and not have sort of say to him, yeah, don't worry about helping Lenny going backwards because he's more than capable of doing it on his own. So, yeah, he would be someone I'd look to sign definitely, because if you look at his sell-on potential, there would be a decent amount there, I would have thought. And just to touch upon Longman as well, I'd really like to get him in. I'm almost certain we did try to get him when he was at AFC Wimbledon and he went to Hull instead. I'm almost certain we did. He's only young. He's only 23 again. He's someone I think for next year have in and around the squad. I don't think he's a bad player by any means. I know it's obviously his last couple of performances have probably changed people's opinions, but prior to that, he got caned at Huddersfield. I don't think he had a bad game at Huddersfield. He did all right. He didn't play well, but he wasn't bad. I think he's the sort of player I'd be looking to get in next year as well if we can.
I think, again, guys, there's also some comments that have come through that I have started. We will come back to because there's some really good points being raised as we're going through. I think the sellable assets piece. I said this a couple of weeks ago. There was a couple. This was raised on one of the shows. To me, that's where the club are so far behind. Mickey will always say that we're 5 years behind commercially and 10 years behind on this and etc. But to be successful in football, it's a business, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but it is a business. It's about making money, selling players, bringing in new ones, trying to find that, diamond in the rough, that kind of thing. Peterborough do it very well in League One. They seem to find all these players and sell them for vast money, and that's why they're sustainable. Admittedly, they never really use it to their advantage, but they still are sustainable. Ryan Longman, 23, Brooke Norton Cuffeys in England under 21. Tanganga, to my knowledge, isn't mid-20s, I think. I don't think he's much older than that. Michael Obafemi is probably around mid-20s as well. You've got the likes of S.A., Amaku, Mayer, young players that are Adam Malachi, who's obviously at Sutton, who will come back into the group, Alex Mitchell. I'm not saying these players are going to be worth lots and lots of money, but from a potential and from an asset point of view, we're going to be getting rid of some older players who are just not worth anything to us anymore. Sean Hutchinson, great player, captain, hero over the years in certain games, but he's just going to walk off into the sun and we're not going to get anything for him. Yes, okay, you recoup the wages, but they have to start thinking long term. So in that sense, those type of players make sense. Whether or not that transpires in the summer is another matter. But moving on a little bit back to this season, 3 games to go. You touched on it earlier, Ben. I'm going to just run through a couple of fixtures. So Huddersfield have to play Swansea, Birmingham and Ipswich. Sheffield Wednesday have to play Blackburn, West Brom and Sunderland. Now, I've picked those 2 out because they're the 2 teams that are occupying the 2 spots in the relegation zone. They play teams that are also below us in Birmingham and Blackburn. So the teams below us cannot pick up maximum points. Minus 23 and minus 31 goal difference for both of them as well. 6-point gap, effectively 7. I'm not going to put you right on the spot and say, can you guarantee that we're safe? But looking at it, if the players can pull a result from somewhere, Swansea on the last day is just going to be a party, right?
Yeah, as I said earlier, mate, honestly, I think we're 95% the way there. I think it's only a point now. I really do, just because there's so many teams in between us in the relegation zone. The 2 teams you mentioned, obviously the 2 most important ones, I can't see them getting 7 points out of their fixtures anyway. So we would have to lose all of our remaining fixtures and then to get at least 2 wins and a draw. And I don't want to say we're 100%. I say I'm only saying 95 because we're Millwall fans, right? And otherwise, I'd probably be saying 100%. I do think we only need a point. We get a point against Sunderland, we're safe.
And Jay, obviously, there was a comment that come up that I'm going to get on the screen. Neil Harris has seemingly come in, regalvanised the squad. This is the comment I was looking for from Andy. How Harris has got these players to evolve from relegation fodder to being quality is beyond me. I said it on the pre-record in the week that Neil Harris has banked on the home form to keep us in the division. I think he's looked at that and gone, right, we're gonna sort this out at home and we're gonna make sure that we do it on our own turf. But from the show that you did, I believe your first show with us was after Sheffield Wednesday away. You did a live on the at home. You did a live after that, and it was a great show. It was a very watched show and a very Rantfield show, and at that point we were absolutely on our knees. The turnaround in the 10 games that I believe it's 10 games we've had under Neil Harris is absolutely remarkable. Are you in the same camp as Ben? 1 point from Sunderland should see us over the line.
Yeah, 100%. Look, you touched on it. Teams below us can't get maximum points. The goal difference is horrific. And, they haven't been able to string 3 wins together all season, most of them. That's why they're down there. Can they do it now? I don't think they can. 1 point will be enough. That may probably come at home to Plymouth. We know why Harris was brought in. This is not new, winning games at home for Harris. Harris did it in his previous stint. Our problem's always been winning away from home. It was under Rowett, and it has been under most managers. We're not an away day team. We set up to, if we can nick a point or we hit you on the counter, great. We're happy with that. But we've always been home is our bread and butter. That's what keeps us in leagues, is our home form. And Harris has just all he's done is done what he's done before. And credit where it's due, because it was so bad to the point where we was even questioning are the players scared of playing at home? The fans, it got so toxic. I said earlier we'd won 4 games all season under 3 different managers. That's Barrett, Rowett, and Joe Edwards. And Harris hasn't lost a game at home. So, based on past behaviour, the best predictor of future behaviour is past behaviour. I would say, yeah, like Ben said, 95% safe, and you bank on us getting that win at home to Plymouth. So, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable and pretty confident.
Absolutely. I mean, this year, just look, GR 17 from 15, Edwards 17 from 18, Harris 17 from 10. And he inherited I'm assuming that's meant to say a shit relegation team with only 1 striker who could only play 45 minutes. Amazing. Look, it's very... We've all come on here and had opinions, and we've had messages in group chats and tweets and everything about when you lose a game, it's the end of the world. When you win a game, everything's all right in the world, and that's just the life of a football fan and life of Millwall Football Club. The job that Neil Harris has done cannot be underestimated, in my opinion. I've never said that that I didn't enjoy going to games. I love going to games at home and away. It was tough under Edwards and Rowett at the start of the season, but there were lots of people that were not coming to games of football because of the way that we were losing. We were losing pretty much every week. It felt like at home, and you were losing, long-standing fans. I have seen people that have said, "I'm not going to another game until Rowett's gone," or then it turned into, "I'm not going to another game until Edwards is gone." So the fact that Harris has done it in a short space of time is absolutely superb. Ben, I think based on, and obviously we did a Who Are You a long time ago last season. We're a very similar age. Neil Harris has always been a bit of a hero for us, and Jay as well. Ben, to you first. If Neil Harris was Sam Allardyce or Neil Warnock, and he'd have got 17 points from the 10 games, do you think that they would have been getting a lot more praise than what Harris is?
Yeah, I think if you'd have taken away Harris's previous tenure, where it obviously ended a bit sour, should we say, I think he'd have been absolutely lauded, because I can't remember who just put the comment up, the players must have been shot to bits under Edwards, and the fans were, more importantly, I've never seen us turn so quickly unanimously on a manager and a team like we did under Edwards. And it went from a lot of the Edwards in people quickly, like myself, going, I don't think we're going to win a game for the rest of the year. So, yeah, I think that's the most impressive thing, to drag the players up. I'd imagine they would have been on the floor with the amount of just criticism, abuse they were getting. Yeah, to turn it around has been nothing short of brilliant. I think I've probably seen the 2 worst games under Harris in Huddersfield and Rotherham. We weren't particularly great, but look, people are enjoying it again, and that's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah, if the fans are enjoying it, we're doing better. I'd say winning every week, but we're doing better. Yeah, you can't argue with that.
And that's it. There's a comment, I think, from Dan. When is Jay's Who Are You coming out? It is coming out soon. Our head of production is back this week, so we'll get him on the case. We'll get that one out. Again, if anyone wants to take part in it, drop us a message. We'll get that recorded. Good fun to talk about Millwall's story, but we will. That is ready. I think there's something needs to be. You've got to do a little bit of an edit or something, but that will be ready to go very, very soon.
Stephen, can I just jump in? Just one thing. I'm sure we're moving on to a different subject, but just to go back on the relegation fight. I just had a look. We're talking about teams needing 7 points to catch us. Let's just use Huddersfield. The last time they won back-to-back games in the league was September.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
You look at that. It's so hard to do in this league for any team, wherever they are in the league. And again, I was just looking at the league. Us and Swansea at the minute are the only two teams that have won back-to-back games. It's a long shot. People start looking, and we do it ourselves. Oh, if we can win this one, if we can win that one, you think if you did that 3 months ago, you'd have not been at the bottom of the league. So what, as you say, what makes you think you can do it now? That's the big thing for me. It's not just the teams are down there for a reason, obviously. To ask them to pick up 7 points from 3 games, win, or I don't have to win back to back. They can win, draw, win, but it just doesn't happen.
Absolutely. I have just seen a message. I missed this earlier, the piece on Flemming. John, guy obviously donated the Byron Webster shirt. Just something on Zian Flemming. Flemming has done more defensive work this year, so maybe where we are currently as a team. I do agree with that. Off the ball, I think Zian Flemming has been much, much more of a harder worker than on the ball. But again, that's with Flemming. I think it's a case of he's asked to do that, but we want to see him score goals and create goals. That's not what we really need from him, and maybe that's something for Harris to think about moving forward. And one other topic, I mean, we've been going now sort of nearly an hour and a half, so we'll do sort of maybe 10, 15 more minutes and look to wrap this up. There's a comment just there, the Peckham Poet. Can I do an episode of Who Are You wearing a balaclava? No, you can't do an episode doing a balaclava. However, if you're not comfortable doing the Who Are You on camera and you don't want to show your face, there is a way for us to record it that it's just done. So it's just basically a blacked out screen. So you don't have to show your face. So if that's something you're interested in, for context, if you want to go back and have a look, my dad actually didn't want to go on the camera himself. So we did our recording where it was literally just a blacked out screen and the questions are exactly the same. Nothing changes. So you're more than happy to accommodate that if you want to do that. It's not a problem.
I've been very unwell this weekend. That's why. Not very well. It'll come back. Sorry to disappoint you.
Can we also, again, I'm going to do this because I'm the host and Mickey does this to me. I feel like we skirted past the fact that Freddie Mercury was a comparison. That is outstanding.
I'll take Freddie Mercury. I'll take that. I'll still take Jamie Redknapp one out of it, though. That's the one I'm taking. I'm ignoring everything else.
But yeah, no, guys, as I say, at the moment, just there's over 400 of you watching. Again, the support on these have been amazing over the last few weeks. Like we really, really appreciate it. So if you want to get involved, come on. We're happy to do a show with you. The Who Are You guys? Please get in contact. We're more than happy to do that. Again, 10 minutes. Last kind of little bit of a topic. 3 games to go. I don't want to do too much of a preview on Sunderland because we do have, we've got another live and we'll maybe do a pre-record in the week where we talk about it. Sunderland isn't always a bit of a happy hunting ground for the Lions. Plymouth at home, which is probably the one that everybody's thinking about winning, and then a trip to Swansea away from home. We're 3 games from the end of the season, Jay. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't know what your thoughts are. I just kind of want this season over and done with and just start and hit the refresh button, right?
Oh, without a doubt. I think the sense of relief once it's finally mathematically confirmed that we're staying up will be elation for everybody. It's been a hard season. Majority of these pods that we do on the Sunday, Friday, and even the pre-records, it's been hard work to try and be upbeat about most of this season. Harris has installed a bit more belief, and we've had some better pods. But the topic's been doom and gloom, the conversation's been doom and gloom. So yeah, let's finally get safe, and then we could start looking to being back in the Championship next season, or should I say, staying in the Championship, and talking about the recruitment of better players and where we go from here. But yeah, let's get some optimism back, get the season over, get safe, and forget about it, and put this to the back of on the list of very, very bad seasons we've had, because I don't want to revisit it again for anything.
Absolutely. Plymouth nearly sold out already, someone said. The ticket sales have been really, really good. I'm not surprised.
Very
it's the
good.
last home game. Everyone floods to that. So that doesn't really surprise me. I want Mickey to do my Who Are You in French. We will accommodate that. I will, if you message us, Lilu, Lion Blue, Mickey will do your Who Are You in French. I don't know what Mickey's French is like, but he's going to have to learn it now.
He still struggles with English. He ain't going to do it in French.
Agree. Want the season over, but then we'll talk about the drama all summer. Absolutely, Rosalind. That's just the way that it is. Millwall will always be there. We'll always be back. Doing this and there's always something to talk about. But for me and Ben, I'll come to you on this. This season has just felt like mental torture at times following this club. It would be really nice for me. You guys obviously will be there at Plymouth to get a result at Sunderland. If it's the point or if it's a win, get it done there so we can go to that last home game and just enjoy it. Just enjoy a day at the Den and not have to worry about anything. That's the dream, right?
Yeah, it is. It's just been a weird season, isn't it? It's one that I think we'll look back on, and I think in a few years and go, end of the Gary Rowett era, I think was big for the club. Obviously, start the season with JB. It's just been a weird season, isn't it? And I think we'll all be relieved to say will be over, and then after about a week of it being over, we'll be going, when's it back? So look, just a funny season. As I keep saying, I think we're pretty much there now. It'll be nice to get that point at Sunderland or even beat them, and then as you say, I suppose the last two games then it's just about seeing everyone for the last couple of games of the year, having a few beers and then enjoying it.
Absolutely. And I'm just we've started quite a few comments. Whoever started that Ben looks like a young Jamie Redknapp's going to be fired at the end of this, because we're not starting that.
I've got over the comments. Someone started it.
Just an interesting one that I've lost it now. Millwall Holdings. Here we go. Anyone see the club shop after the game? Never seen so many people in and around it. These so-called floaters spend a few bob. I didn't see it. I don't know. The shop was very popular pre-match. I had a wander over towards the cafe and it was very, very busy. Also, the little stand behind the blue bus. We know they got the merchandising hut. That was pretty busy as well, where people were buying stuff. It's a lot of it's discounted, which is fine. Cost of football shirts is astronomical at the best of times. So get it when it's cheaper. I don't blame any of the fans. That's the way of the modern football fan. They're trying to encourage people to come from abroad, and someone said about the attendances, if that's bringing more money into the club, then great. There was another comment about I didn't star it, so I'm going to have to go back and find it now. I do apologise. Regarding the sponsor for next season, it's all gone quiet on Husky. We were taking them to court, and now all of a sudden nothing's been made of it. And finally, just one other thing I'll ask you guys on this particular player. And again, I've been hammered on this show by lots of people, by this individual, but Danny McNamara, what a turnaround. Ben, can't really argue, can you? Under Harris, no. Superb.
No, absolutely. Yeah, he's been brilliant, playing out of position as well. For most of playing at left back. He's done really well. It just goes to show what a manager or just a person who can instill some belief and confidence in you can do, right? I'm sure he was probably not feeling at his happiest, his most confident under Edwards, wasn't getting much game time, and then someone comes in that knows him. Same with Billy, right? And I'm sure Harris would have dragged them into his office first couple of days and told him what he needs from him for the end of the season, and it probably gave him a massive lift. So yeah, as I say, it just goes to show what a good manager can do. But yeah, fantastic turnaround, and delighted for him. I'm always delighted for our youth academy players, because we do like to get on their back more than anyone else. I don't know why, but we do. Yeah, really happy for Danny. Hopefully he can have a strong remainder of the season. Again, it'd be interesting to see what happens to him next year. Will he make that left back position his own? You never know. Will he be? Yeah, just be interesting to see what happens. I know obviously Brian will come back, but it'd be interesting to see what happens there.
Absolutely. Alex, I wholeheartedly agree. At least in the summer, we have the defence of the 2020 World Cup to look forward to. My cricket season personally starts over, as the football season ends. So my Saturdays get taken up with that. So I always have something to do, but I do. Millwall's always just that little bit ahead. I always look forward to August. Jay, before we start wrapping it up, any final comments on Danny McNamara coming back into the team?
Yeah, just echo what Ben said. Look, he's been brilliant. He's been an easy scapegoat over the years with every manager. When his performances drop slightly, he seems to find himself out the team. And he did under Harris at Blackburn. He lost his place, but he got it back through injury. And Leicester, Cardiff, his performances were very, very good. Yeah, very pleased for Danny. He's only 25. He's still got a lot to learn as well. But it's good to see the likes of him, Billy, being at the front of this resurgence, this charge to stay in the Championship, having your youth step up and be the ones that are, the main part of it is really pleasing, because it shows that they want to be here, they know what it takes, and they understand the club. And yeah, it's really, really good. And like Ben said, maybe he makes it his own, and fair play to him, because that is tough to do for a young player to go out of position who's predominantly a right back. He hasn't got a left foot to save his life. He's not versatile, so he's always played right back. So no, he's done a brilliant job, and fair play to him.
Absolutely. Jonathan, I'd love to do Who Are You, but you wouldn't understand me. I'm from North East Scotland. Mate, we can make it work. Drop us a message. We're more than happy to accommodate. The Lion Blue. This pod has got better and better with no big heads in it. Really appreciate that. As I say, we as a group, the faces change from time to time. We've got Omar, Mickey, Chris, Joe, us three, Dan, we all kind of interchange and dip in and out, with other things that go on, but we all enjoy what we do. Great group of lads to do this with. That's obviously my personal opinion. These guys might throw me under the bus, but that's what I think. We enjoy doing it, and we love that you guys get involved. A couple of other comments that I'm just going to bring up before we do final words. Peter Sullivan, I cannot wait till this pod is finished. Want to get busy in Photoshop. Ben, you are in so much danger of Peter's Photoshopping ability.
I think we've got off lightly.
Peter, just so you know, if you don't follow Ben on Twitter, his Twitter's private. So
by the way, I'm not accepting anyone now.
No. If you can't get a picture of Ben, just drop me a message. We sort you out. We get a cup over to you. Do what you like, mate. Absolutely fine.
If there isn't one with me and Obafemi, I'll be disappointed. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, there's one here. I cannot go until this. Anthony, I think I might have to ban you for this, for slander, but not to me. Stephen looks like a young Jimmy Abdu. I am not having Jimmy Abdu be disrespected like that. That is not right. He is a legend. That's not fair. I wish I looked like Jimmy Abdu. Alex, who do we think will be runner-up in the Player of the Season awards? Guys, runner-up, Sav, Norton Cuffy.
I'll go.
Leonard's going to win them all, isn't he?
If Leonard doesn't win it, then there needs to be some form of investigation, criminal police investigation, if Lenny doesn't win it. But no, Lenny should win it. And then, it could be a toss-up for second with Sav. Maybe Brooke might sneak in there somehow. But no, I think there won't be a second or third place. It's going to be Lenny, and Lenny is good enough to have won all three places this season, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And honestly, we could, the guys in the chat could make us do this show.
What is this? Hang on. What is this?
for the benefit of the podcast, for listening on the podcast, Chris Moore's top right, weight loss. Thankfully, Jay is in the top right that way, so we've got Chris Moore's now. But Peter,
I'm
Peter
a big
has.
guy. Look at me.
Yeah,
Chris
Peter
Moore's pre-weight loss.
did come
That's
back
amazing.
in and say that Mickey is the target. So Ben, you might be
Thanks,
safe.
Peter. Appreciate it. I'm still not
you might
accepting
be
anyone
safe.
on Twitter.
But right, guys, really appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us. Ben, thank you as always. Northern Wall, Northern correspondent. Any final words of wisdom from yourself?
No, unfortunately, I'm at a stag do in Newcastle next week, so I won't be on any of the lives, and I can't make the game because I didn't want to herd 24 of my idiot mates to a Millwall game. I would have liked to have made it, but unfortunately, can't do that. I will be down for the Plymouth game. I think we'll probably speak about that more towards the time. But yeah, it'd be good to see everyone have a beer at Plymouth. The only other thing I was going to plug, Stephen, was the potential still. We are in the process or still in discussions of sorting out our cricket game, aren't we?
Yes, we are. So if you don't know, if you're new here, both Ben and I are big cricket fans, and we're sorting out a charity 2020 game. The plan is to have all, if we can, the panelists there in some capacity, viewers there to play, to umpire, bar will be open, barbecue, the lot. Yeah, anything really. If you are interested, if it's something that would interest you, please get in contact with us. The pod is going to be doing quite a bit for, I believe, is it the Charlie Wynn?
What is that about? What is that about? I'm going to take it that I'm that good looking, Alex.
That's the fucking best.
If any rumours start coming out, that's it now. I'm not coming on anymore. That's it.
And also, I'm gonna shut Anthony down here. Rick Waller, top left, yeah, right. I've had you boys know I've lost 3 stone, so you can take the Rick Waller comment and you can shove that. Anyway, this has descended into some kind of madness. Jay, can you give me your final words, please? Because I just can't keep doing this anymore.
Yeah, look, this has been a long hog this season, guys. We always sign off with a message to the players normally, as it's been this season, saying, look, please just show us a bit. Please do it for the shirt, you know. But let's end on a bit of positivity.
That's a compliment. That's good.
Yeah. I'll take it. Better than the Mill Rovers comment, anyway.
Yeah.
Oasis in cricket. Ben is Mr. Interesting.
And golf. Obviously, don't forget the golf. I'm just to plug that.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's turning to chaos now.
I'm going to finish. I need to finish. Yeah, look, like I said, we normally it's normally doom and gloom. We always normally dish out a message to the players saying, "Come on, do it for the shirt. Let's turn up today." But all I want to say is let's just finally get over the line, get that last point, and we can come back on the pod, and everything will be lifted. No more weight. And we can look forward to a good off season, which is going to be a very big off season. There's going to be lots of content from the pod. So yeah, look, nothing major. Let's just get over the line now.
I'm going to take the comments off the screen because
what
guys,
was that last one? I saw Ben looks like. I didn't see it. Can you put that last one? I don't know what about now.
Wait a minute.
That one.
Peter Sweeney. Right, guys. As we say it a lot, and sometimes it might get lost on that we say it just for the sake of it. But the support that you guys give us on the channel is really appreciated. All of us, Mickey and Omar started this. More people have got involved. Us 3 have been, newer members of the panel, but it's been great to be able to do this. We really appreciate the support. Please give us a like. Please subscribe to the channel. It's free. It really does help us out. We will, as Jay said, have so much stuff still coming up over the summer. We're looking to make sure that the content is flowing as much as we can. Obviously, keeping it interesting. With no football, it does become tricky to to have things to talk about, but we will do our best to keep you guys entertained over the summer. There are the Euros as well, so maybe we can factor that in. If you guys would be interested in maybe some Euro England content, then let us know and we will sort that out.
Or lookalike competitions. We're happy to run those.
Yeah, or lookalike competitions. This is just Photoshop's going to get an absolute hammering after this. Peter, I fully expect to be sent loads of them on social media and everything. Last thing from me, I have got the Byron Webster shirt. You've all seen that. I'll put the link in the description. That's still open for a few days. Any support would be really appreciated. I am playing in a charity game at the Den on the 17th of May, Friday the 17th. If you're around, fancy coming along and watch me make a bit of a prat of myself on the Den, by all means, come along.
Are you 17th as well, Stephen?
I'm playing on the 17th. Yeah, the 17th of May.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're the morning slot. So we'll see you then.
Oh yeah, our game kicks off at 6:30. I don't know what time we'll be there.
Okay, fine. I wasn't sure if you were one. Yeah, we're the 9 till 1.
Although I am off on the day, I might come up and
mate, do it. So we've hijacked this now, guys. I know you don't care about this, but we've got the bar for another couple of hours. We've asked the club, so
nice.
Do it.
Yeah, no, I will. But guys, as I say, we've descended into madness. We're still, we've hijacked it. We talk a load of waffle sometimes. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back probably for a pre-record in the week. There will be lives next weekend. Looking forward to Sunderland and the remaining fixtures. There's not really much else to say. Last week it was doom and gloom and call the Samaritans. This week we're a point away from safety. Neil Harris's statue's being built, and we're the best team in the world. Would you want it any other way?